Guys, welcome to Robin Hood Diaries. Thanks for joining me this evening. I'm going to stick to what I previewed and I really try and race through these stories as much as I can. This one actually is going to take like more than one night. So tonight it's going to be my dad and I on all of his locations and in the context of his whole career. Tomorrow is going to be about travels that he took with me across the country when I was very young, then middle young, then kind of young. So that'll be interesting. That is not movie related. So let's dive in. My dad's first movie was called Queen of Blood. This was in 1966. This was the year I was born. On that film, who starred Dennis Hopper, he became inseparable with Dennis Hopper, although they had met under other circumstances that I'll share at another time or in my book that nobody knows, like a lot of things about my dad. So then they kind of like, I don't know what, from 69, I'm sorry, from 66 to 69, my dad didn't do anything until Easy Rider. So Easy Rider was 69. Okay, my parents still weren't divorced until 71. My mom always said, Easy Rider and Dennis Hopper killed my marriage. Well, no, lady, you stuck around with him for another few years. So I don't know what's up with that. Type some resumes faster. I don't know. So then comes Easy Rider. My dad actually played the pimp in Easy Rider. Peter Fonda and Dennis Hopper go to a brothel, and the pimp is my dad, and he has dialogue and the prostitutes and everything. He was listed as a makeup artist. I have no idea why. Maybe whatever I don't know. And then on IMDb it says biker, which is like completely. He was not a biker, but anyway, whatever. That was 69. That was Easy Rider. So then my dad starts to kind of coast in to some parts, movie and television, because my dad supplemented his career with a lot of tiny parts in television. So then we're looking at 69, then we're looking at 70, 71, 72. He's doing a lot of these troublemakers, bikers. He did a film that I was very much like kind of involved with, not on the set, but oh my God, looking at dailies forever, called The Limit. The Limit was with Yaphet Kotto. It was Yaphet Kotto's directorial debut. My dad basically played the villain. There was The Jesus Trip, another sort of biker movie. My dad like holds a nun at knife point and they kidnap the nun on the motorcycles. Oh my God, can you imagine? So he's doing all these things, these sort of movies, these, like Hell's Angels on Wheels. He was like in that too. Then comes a movie called Hauser. Nobody in the family, no friends, anybody knows about Hauser. Hauser was this fabulous movie that he did that I had to see the rushes for 100 million times. It was shot it released in 73, but it was actually shot a year earlier ish. So this is a real like melodrama where two kids run away and they end up at Joe and Mary's. They run away and they end up in the middle of wherever. And my dad has a scene in there in the end that is so moving. It is actually his favorite dramatic scene he had ever done. Surprise. So he did Hauser. Again, favorite dramatic role. It's a really powerful scene. Somebody's dying. I think Alan Ann McCleary, who's also a famous actress, was in it. I think she's passing away, and or one of the kids. I don't know. It's supposed to be a tragedy in it. It's very hard to get. There's like a Polish DVD or VHS of it you can't buy. So then we have a movie that my dad did. There was a very famous movie with Lee Marvin and Richard Burton, and it is so disgusting. I won't say the title. I won't say my dad's character, what he did, much less what he did in this film. It was I think, greatest regret of his life doing this film. If you want to know what it is, look up 70s movie Lee Marvin and Richard Burton. They were both in it, so it'll tell you. Disgusting. So then 75 is rolling around. Now we're getting to me on location. So he does this movie called Bobby Joe and the Outlaw, which starred Marjo Gortner, who was then well known, and Lynda Carter, Wonder Woman, before Wonder Woman. Get that. So I'm on location with my dad, with Lynda Carter, Linda Pearl, an actress, and Marjo Gortner. This is like out somewhere along the New Mexico-Arizona border. It was literally, they found this tiny, tiny hole in the wall gas station. So I'm there, I'm with Lynda Carter, and I have a bit part in the end after the death scene. My dad, spoiler alert, gets killed in a shootout at the gas station. It is his favorite death scene by far. I mean, even when he was doing it, you could tell he was in love with his own performance. It lasts forever, and he holds the gun by the trigger as he falls dead, and it dangles and comes off of his hand. It was really great. So that was my experience. Lynda Carter, and then we hooked up with Lynda Carter later on the Warner Brothers lot. That's a long story. So then came Missouri Breaks. We're still 75, okay? So, like, my stepmom hadn't come on board. My sister wasn't around. This was, again, my time with my dad on set was basically 73 to 70, well after that, but just us. It was 73 to 75. 75 now, he's looking good. Okay, he does Barbie Joe and the Outlaw. Now he's got Missouri Breaks. Missouri Breaks, he knew Brando from years ago during the Civil Rights Movement, so he co-stars with Marlon Brando. Jack Nicholson is also in this movie. You can see it. It's really kind of weird Western. And Jack Nicholson's story I told before, my dad had to do this like fight scene on horses, these horses that were not very well trained, and it was terrifying me. I was in the director's chair, and Jack Nicholson's right next to me, like, it's going to be okay. See, this is a stunt man, and that's not a real gun, and horses are going to be fine. The trainers are here. This is Jack Nicholson, dudes. So that was a takeaway. He calmed me down, actually. Then I was like, cool, listening to him, whatever. And then my stepmother, who was my dad's girlfriend at the time, came, visited. That was interesting. Then I stayed with him. She left and stayed with him for the rest of the shoot. Arthur Penn was the director. I got to know Brando, Nicholson, whatever. Okay. So now we think we're, big movie. We think we're kind of coasting into something big here. And it doesn't happen. Life completely changes. The movies that are released in 76, like Missouri Breaks, were all shot in 75. Everything else, like Hauser, that wasn't released till 73, it was made in 71. Anyway, so everything changes in 76. This is August of 76. This is when my sister was born. I was raging on television and commercials and movies of the week. So for 3 years, my dad's career goes into complete no man's land. It's like hibernation time. Maybe a couple bits and pieces here and there. And I mean bits and pieces. You guys, my dad was a C-list actor, maybe C+. He was not a B-list actor. He was known for having tiny, tiny, tiny parts of a certain type, to the point where people would say, like, get me a Virgil Frye type. Anyway, so then life is, it takes a few years to get back on the track of his career. And again, 79. I'm not on location with this one. He goes to the Philippines to make, again, one of his favorite characters. It's this salty seaman. And it's one of those, like, killer fish movies. But the character's hysterical. He eats, his breakfast is dry cereal with rum. So he then is 79. He's really kind of making some headway back, okay? And then he does Dr. Heckle and Mr. Hype. Now, I was on the location every day, every hour. The lady that came back with him from the Philippines ended up being his lover for some time, and at that time became my best friend beyond that, and life mentor from 12 until for 28 years. So then we're in Dr. Heckle and Mr. Hype. This is starring Oliver Reed, okay, famous British actress, far from it. Oh my God, Oliver Reed. Talk about rough and tumble. He and my dad got in trouble at L'Hermitage Hotel in Beverly Hills because they were in Oliver Reed's penthouse wrestling and boxing. Because Oliver Reed was a really like rough and tumble guy, and my dad's like Mr. Tuffy, but sweetie pie, but can roll with the best of them. So that Heckle and Hype was just an amazing film. It's his favorite comedic character. Like, you know those trees that have all the thorns coming out, you know? His character, this like tough, like il topo. He's the rat, he's the detective, and he's so tough. He lights a cigar and he leans up against the tree to watch the suspect. It's the thorn tree. And he takes his hand for his cigar and it's bloody. So, I mean, you had to have been there, but the movie's just completely off the rails. And Oliver Reed plays Heckle and Hyde, Jekyll and Hyde. Oh my God, what a movie. So then there's a film also that comes out at that time called Citizen Soldier. Now, I was also on that, but that was shot a few years before. So now we're going back to 75. I'm like 9, you know. So why they waited good God, 6 years to release this film, I don't know. But it starred Toni Basil. Hey, Mickey, you're so fine. Got to know her, hang out on location. Dean Stockwell, famous actress, actor again. You probably saw him in the original Dune, and a million other things. He started his career as a child actor way back, I think in the 40s. It was called The Boy with the Green Hair. And it was this child that had green hair. It was a really bizarre story. Kind of family story, but so Citizen Soldier, I did that. We shot a lot on the beach, a lot of beach scenes and then intimate scenes because it was basically Dean Stockwell and, no, Billy Gray. Billy Gray was Father Knows Best. Oh my God, you guys are going so way back. But no, love interest was Billy Gray. Anyway, so that was cool. Toni Basil was amazing. She had been a choreographer like forever and a dancer. And then this cheesy, look it up, there's this cheesy movie called Valley of the Giants. And all the teenagers in town eat this chemical and they become like these 10-story buildings, but they have to figure out how to distract the giant teenagers. So they send little Toni Basil out, who's not been, you know, she's one of the shrunken regular people with this big red hair. And she does this sexy dance for the giant teenagers who are eating fried chicken like this out of little containers to distract them. So watch that movie, The Redhead Dancing. That's Toni Basil. Hey, Mickey, you're so fine. So then we're now at the 79. So again, on the set of that Citizen Soldier, on the whole set of Heckle and Hype, which is mostly in Los Angeles, everywhere, from Griffith Park into Hollywood and all over the place. Amazing. And then of course, my mentor, best friend, was with me for that entire shoot. She's actually had a scene in it and helped with the production design, whatever, or did the production design. I don't know. So then we're at 79, and then it's 80. We're doing good, some television rolling around, some stuff happening, and then 82 is his like big deal. He stars in a film called Revenge of the Ninja. Yeah, Revenge of the Ninja. And he starred in it. He played the detective that was on, after the ninjas. And he starred. So then we're at 82, and he's like, okay, now we're at 82. I'm starring in films. From 82, 83 until 88, he really did nothing remarkable at all. Very tiny parts. Then in 88, he gets a movie called Colors, which is a famous movie with Robert Duvall, Sean Penn, about gangs in LA. So he has this fantastic scene with this incarcerated individual, and he's really tough and wild and weird. So that was a big deal, big scene. And then boom, you guys, 88 until his death. You can look on IMDb. They are little itty bitty little things. Detective so-and-so, whatever, Back when I was a kid, he was doing the Doris Day Show, Ironside, Bonanza. Probably my mom making them do all those corny TV things. Anyway, so like I said, unfortunately from 88 till his passing, or till he began to get sick with FTD, which is a form of dementia. it was really nothing. And then he got too ill to act, and there you go. But I got lots of great stuff. That Bobby Joe and the Outlaw with Lynda Carter. I mean, that place was so in the middle of nowhere, tiny, that this local guy came to the gas station, which had like a little restaurant cafe thing, and he cut open a snake that had been boiled or whatever and ate it. Ate the pieces of the snake meat. Anyway, whatever. Okay, thanks for joining me. Thanks for putting up with my stories. Hope you enjoyed these about my dad and I. They were fun. And then tomorrow we're going to talk about all the travels that we did that were non-movie, that were just us. Okay, so again, thanks for joining me. And I'm glad you could be with me as I am every night, every day. So what can I say except what I always do? I love you guys. I adore you. Thanks for putting up with my stories. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye.